So you're here because you value expertise. You want that deep knowledge. But let's be honest, you don't have time to wade through hundreds of pages to get it.
Right.
You're looking for the blueprint, the non-obvious strategies that take you from just being good at something to being truly exceptional,
And that is exactly our mission today. We've gone deep into Robert Greene's framework for mastery.
which is huge.
It is. It's basically a map of the entire journey.
Yeah.
We're not just, summarizing. We are pulling out the exact strategies you need for real, lasting success.
Okay.
So this deep dive is about understanding that path, those stages of development, and showing you how to get beyond just skill acquisition to a kind of profound self-awareness.
Okay, so to frame this, let's look at the two paths the sources lay out. Think about that designer, Sam. He's always jumping from one new trend to the next.
A new coding language, a new marketing fad.
Exactly. And he's hoping one of them will just magically deliver expertise or maybe some fame, but it never goes deep.
And then you contrast him with Sarah, the musician. She spent 2 decades just honing her craft. She embraced the really terrible lessons, the boredom of just practicing scales. Greene's work is really a guide for the Sarahs of the world.
The people who get that true mastery comes from an inner calling, not some external chase.
It's a process, not an event. And Greene organizes this whole journey into 3 big stages that really every master has to go through.
3 stages.
Precisely. First up is the apprenticeship. That's where you build the foundation, the technical and mental bedrock.
Okay.
Second, you hit the creative active phase. This is where you start to transform that foundation, challenge the rules, and your own unique style starts to emerge.
And the final stage.
That's mastery itself, where your understanding is so deep, so intuitive, that you can make a real lasting impact.
All right, let's start at the beginning then, part 1. Discovering and building that foundation, which all starts with what he calls your life's task.
And this is such a critical psychological point he makes. The foundation isn't just technique. It's built on the purity of your motivation.
What do you mean by purity?
He insists that real power, lasting power, comes from aligning your work with your core nature, with that one thing that just feels like a calling, the work you were sort of born to do.
And the second you swap that out for external validation,
Yes.
like chasing money or fame or even just trying to please your parents,
You're on what he calls the false path.
and that path just leads to burnout. Even if you get the status, you're not fulfilled.
Absolutely. And that inner alignment is so important because it gets us to the reality check of time commitment. We all know the 10,000-hour rule.
Sure.
Well, Greene basically doubles down on it.
Yeah.
He stresses that for true, deep, integrated mastery, the kind that gives you that effortless intuition, it takes at least 20,000 hours.
Wait, 20,000, that's almost 10 years of full-time focused work.
Or 20 years part-time.
For anyone listening, especially with careers, a family, that just sounds impossible. How does he even justify that?
He justifies it by changing the way you experience the work. I mean, if you are deeply aligned with your life's task, those hours stop feeling like a chore.
They feel like exploration.
Exactly. If you're counting the minutes until 5 o'clock, you've probably drifted onto that false path. When passion is the fuel, it's not a sacrifice. It's an investment in who you are. The work becomes its own reward.
That reframing makes all the difference. So practically, how do you find this alignment? He gives some actual steps.
He does. First, he says to revisit your childhood passions. Before society told you what you should be interested in.
Back when it was unfiltered.
Right. What did you do for hours without needing anyone to pay you or praise you? The clues are usually right there.
Okay, and second, he talks about finding your niche.
Yes, mastery demands depth, not breadth. You have to ruthlessly focus your energy where your passion meets a real opportunity. Don't be okay at 20 things. Be unparalleled at one thing.
Which naturally leads to blending work and life, I suppose.
It does. When your work reflects who you really are, the line just blurs. The job isn't a transaction anymore. It's the most authentic way you express yourself.
But he also says it's okay to pivot, which feels really important.
Well, it's crucial. If you're years into a career and you realize it's wrong, you can't let sunk costs trap you. You have to be flexible to keep recalibrating.
The willingness to leave a safe but wrong path is a sign of a future master.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
once you have that life's task sort of identified, you enter the apprenticeship. And this phase is so demanding because its goal is not just to teach you skills, it's to transform your mind, your character.
And you have to prioritize learning over money.
Learning over everything. Like Greene says, comfort is the enemy. You have to actively seek out challenges and difficult feedback.
And you have this very clear three-step process for it. The biggest mistake people make is trying to show off right away.
That's it. Step one is deep observation, the passive mode. You have to force yourself to just hold back.
Just watch.
Yes. Quietly observe the people who are truly excellent. Don't try to speak up or impress. Just absorb the rules, the culture, the little nuances. You train your eye first.
And then comes step 2.
Skill acquisition, the practice mode. And the key here is no multitasking. You focus on one foundational skill until it's completely automatic. This is where the boredom is.
The grind.
The grind, the repetition. But accepting that pain builds the mental focus you absolutely need.
And only then can you move to step 3, experimentation.
The active mode. Now the rules are in your bones, in your muscle memory. So you start creating your own stuff, gaining hands-on experience, and you slowly start to break the rules to see what happens.
A key strategy here seems to be moving towards the pain. We all want to practice what we're good at, but he says growth comes from focusing on your weaknesses.
Mercilessly. You have to learn through failure, analyze your mistakes, and use that to get better.
He also warns against specializing too early, taking that rigid path.
Yeah, if you lock yourself into a super specialized niche in your 20s, you limit your ability to connect ideas later on. A broader apprenticeship early on keeps your mind open.
Okay, so that builds the technical foundation. Now we have to shift to part 2, which is often the biggest hurdle for talented people, mastering the social dynamic.
Right, because raw intellect can't save you from bad social intelligence.
Let's start with the mentor.
The mentor is a FAST-T track. That's an acronym. Focused, accelerated, systematic, targeted training.
A fast ET track. I like that.
It dramatically speeds things up. They give you the wisdom of their decades, letting you bypass all the common mistakes you definitely make on your own.
But to even use that track, you need a huge amount of humility. You can't get defensive. Your ego has to take a back seat.
Or you just waste the whole opportunity. The strategy here is, 1, choose a mentor who actually matches your needs. Someone who fills your gaps, not someone who just tells you you're great.
And he warns against picking someone who repeats a negative pattern from your past, like a critical parent.
Absolutely, because you'll just reinforce your own self-limiting beliefs. And 2, you have to gaze deep into the mentor's mirror.
Meaning you welcome the hard feedback, the criticism that makes you uncomfortable.
You have to see it as an essential ingredient for growth, not a personal attack.
And the final goal isn't to become a clone of them.
Never. The ultimate move is to transfigure their ideas. You personalize their lessons, you adapt them, and then eventually you move beyond their shadow. The real success is when the student surpasses the teacher.
Which leads us right into the broader idea of social intelligence. We've all seen it. The source mentions that study from Outliers.
Yeah, the high IQ kids who don't reach their potential.
Exactly. It wasn't because they weren't smart enough. It was because they lacked social savvy. The biggest roadblocks are emotional office politics, hidden agendas. All that stuff drains the energy you need for your actual craft.
That is the crux of it. If you spend all your energy fighting petty battles, you have nothing left for the real work. Social intelligence is just emotional intelligence pointed outwards. It's seeing people as they are.
Not as you wish they were.
And definitely not through your own biases. He breaks it down into 2 kinds of knowledge. Specific knowledge is reading nonverbals, body language, tone of voice.
And general knowledge is understanding what he calls the 7 deadly realities of human nature.
And knowing these is like having a cheat code for human psychology.
Yeah.
Let's touch on a couple, starting with envy.
Okay.
It's universal. People naturally compare. If you stand out too much too early, before you have real influence, you just become a target.
So the strategy is counterintuitive. You blend in.
You blend in, don't show off your early wins. You use strategic camouflage until your authority is so solid that petty envy can't touch you.
Wow. Okay, what's another one?
Self-obsessiveness.
Uh-huh.
You have to just accept that most people, most of the time, are wrapped up in their own world, their own problems.
So if you go to them asking for something that serves you,
You'll get resistance. The key is to focus on their interests first.
Sure.
Make them feel seen and understood. That's how you get their support.
that's powerful. And the last one you mentioned was laziness and flightiness.
Right. We think people are rational, but their decisions are driven by emotion, which makes them inconsistent. So you have to be wary of collaborators who are super enthusiastic at first.
Because they might be looking for someone else to do the hard work.
The 20,000 hours of hard work. You have to assess their real motivation.
So given all this, the best strategy is to just speak through your work.
Let your results do the talking. Avoid the drama.
And he says to craft a persona, a conscious role to protect your inner self, and, maybe the hardest one, to suffer fools gladly.
That's a very hard pill to swallow. But it's about acceptance. It means seeing foolishness and ego as just, part of the human condition.
And if you accept it, you don't get emotionally invested in every little conflict.
You save all that mental energy for what actually matters, the work.
And that takes us perfectly into part 3, the creative breakthrough. We have the technical skills, we've navigated the social world, now it's time to actually evolve the craft.
And the main obstacle here isn't a lack of talent, it's fear. It's insecurity. The fear of failure makes us conservative, makes us stick to what's safe.
So to fight that, you need what he calls the dimensional mind.
Yes, and he gives specific strategies to awaken it. First is to cultivate negative capability.
Which is?
It's the ability to just sit with uncertainty, to not rush to find an easy answer. Real creativity lives in that uncomfortable space of, I don't know.
You also have to allow for serendipity.
Keep a notebook. Explore totally unrelated fields. The best insights often come from outside your own domain.
And most importantly, you have to deliberately alter your perspective.
View problems from weird, contradictory angles. Don't ask what a problem is, ask how it works. And always look at the anomalies, the things that don't fit the pattern. That's where breakthroughs hide.
And for the breakthrough moment itself, he says you need tension.
Right. Deadlines, real or self-imposed, jolts your mind into a higher gear. But here's the key part. After that intense focus, you have to step away.
Take a walk, go to sleep.
Exactly. The solution almost never comes during the struggle. It arrives in the moment of release, when your subconscious takes over.
But success itself can be a trap. The ego sets traps.
Always. The first is complacency. The feeling that you've arrived, you know it all. You fight that by constantly seeking new challenges, reminding yourself how little you actually know.
The second is conservatism. You start preferring comfort over the risk you need for real innovation.
And the third, maybe the most dangerous, is grandiosity. Believing the fame, the validation, that's the real reward.
It's a fatal distraction.
It is. The motivation has to stay in the work itself.
Which allows you to reach the final stage, fusing intuition with reason. And for him, intuition isn't magic.
Not at all. It's a higher intelligence that you earn through all that practice.
Yeah.
The ability to see patterns no one else sees.
Yeah.
To make fast, accurate decisions, because the rational and intuitive parts of your mind are finally in perfect sync.
He calls it the fingertip feel.
Yeah, it's when you've layered so many simple skills that they become automatic, part of your nervous system. The basics are so second nature that your conscious mind is free for the really high-level thinking.
And true masters eventually become these universal thinkers, the universal man or woman.
They synthesize knowledge from everywhere, art, science, history, to get a deeper, more holistic understanding of their own craft.
They also widen their vision, thinking several steps ahead, not just reacting to what's in front of them.
And they connect to their environment. They become so attuned to all the subtle signals that they move almost instinctively through their world.
So to pull this all together, mastery isn't an accident, it's not luck. It's a systemic, disciplined, multi-stage journey.
A long one.
You have to find your life's task, you have to endure the 20,000 hours, master the social game, and then finally push into that creative evolution. It's about becoming a supreme hunter for insights to build your own authentic voice.
It's a difficult map, for sure, but it is an achievable one. It's a way to move from feeling overwhelmed to achieving a really deep sense of personal fulfillment through your work.
And if you take just one thing away, it should be about innovation. Greene hammers this point home. You have to surpass your mentor. You can't let success make you rigid or conservative.
The ultimate creative act, what he calls the evolutionary hijack, is all about adaptability, about questioning the established norms.
So we'll leave you with this to think about. What established rules of the game in your own field should you be actively planning to question, or maybe even shatter, to make sure you keep evolving?
Something to mull over. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We look forward to exploring the next set of sources with you.